Welcome to Wing Academy Video, an extension of Wing Academy of Unfoldment. I'm your host, Diane Wing, and my show focuses on how to use spiritual concepts in the real world. We will address issues related to the mind, body, and spirit, discover how to release what holds us back, and ways to come into our power. Learn more at dianewing.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wing Academy Video. I am so excited to introduce a new friend who I met at an author expo, and she has written the cutest book about Maxfield Mouse, Inventor, and her name is Jennifer Eastman. She's a retired elementary school teacher.
Hi.
She was inspired by her former students. She's channeling their energy and imagination into stories about Maxfield and his pals. Last month, she published her first Maxfield book, Maxfield Mouse Inventor. Jennifer lives outside of Philadelphia with her husband and her cat. So, welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I would like to show the buy page of the book. Where is it? It disappeared.
Oh,
It disappeared. Okay, wait. I am gonna find the sucker. All right, I am gonna not share for a minute. Make sure.
okay.
Sorry, folks. Here it is. That's why. You know, I love technology. It's our friend, but it can also be.
Yes. Yes. I found that today.
Okay, yes. So here it is, Maxfield Mouse Inventor.
Hmm?
And I got to see this book up close. The illustrations are adorable. And you even had on your table a little launcher invention that it would shoot little dog bones and little pom-poms. Talk about that invention. That's in the book, right?
Right. Right. Well, at the back of the book, I have four inventions that Maxfield developed in the story that kids can make themselves at home. And the first one was, like you say, he was trying to befriend this dog that lived in the house who didn't like him, and he realized that maybe if he could give him treats, give her treats rather, give the dog treats, that would help. So there's a instructions on how to make this catapult, and I do demonstrate that because it's really quite fun to do.
And that's awesome. So it's an interactive book.
Yes, yes. This is, by the way, this is the
Oh,
catapult
there
we
it
talked
is.
about. I'm gonna shoot you one here. Pretend this is a dog treat. Boom. And then there's a pulley when he falls into a well, and there's a to rescue him, and there's a box trap they need to figure out who's taking the treats. And oh yeah, and there's something he does when some of his friend mice are trying to get to build a boat. So all those things can be done. And then on my website, there are printout plans you can download, and also plans if teachers want to do that as a part of a thematic unit in their classroom.
That's awesome. So it's not just for home. It could be that if a school wanted to buy your book and
Yes,
incorporate it into the curriculum, it would be doable for that.
yes, that's what it started out as, just a book, but I'm a classroom teacher, an elementary school teacher, and it always just helps to have what they call thematic units, where they take in various aspects of the curriculum and connect them. It helps as teachers, and it gives more interest for students. So as I was doing this and I was looking up the kind of inventions that I thought a mouse could make, I was like, I would so do this myself. And then I thought, I'll write up lesson plans so the teacher could pick up the book, have the book, maybe about third grade, and then do the lessons now that they're calling STEM lessons um, along with it. And along the way, I found somebody who's really an expert in STEM lessons, and she wrote the STEM activity pages in on that you can download, and it's free. All the downloads are free.
Very cool. Now, for those of you who don't know what STEM is, it stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Education,
Yes.
and it focuses on these four disciplines in an integrative manner so that it promotes problem solving and critical thinking skills. And there's more and more of this in classrooms today, don't you think?
Yes, I don't think it was described um, as a as an area when I started. You were supposed to teach science or you're supposed to teach math, and of course they all relate in the real world. So somewhere along the line they figured, well, children need to know how they all relate in the real world. You're not learning math just to learn math or science just to learn science. It's pretty much, and it is pretty much into problem solving. It's all about problem solving using you know using science and using math and using engineering, and it can be and technology, and it can be at a very basic level. They have STEM lessons for little kids because that's really what little kids are about, is trying to figure out things, and they have it all the way up through high school.
Okay. So your book is ideally for third grade, second, third grade.
Yes, I put a range in there. um, I would say that the vocabulary is about third grade, and for third, fourth grade, maybe second. I didn't want to write it just for little kids because then it can be a little bit boring to me. I wanted to write something so it's got a little bit more challenging vocabulary, um, and the activities are so I geared the activities for third, fourth, fifth, and the person who did the instructional things wrote the standards because you always have to put that in a lesson plan. What educational standards are being met if you're a third grade, fourth grade, or fifth grade teacher, so that again, a teacher can just pick it up and put in, these are my objectives, these are the standards, this is the process, this is how I evaluate it. It's just a page and a half, but it can also be read aloud to younger kids. So I put
Okay. So can those exercises be found on maxfieldmouse.com?
yes, yeah,
Okay.
they're all in a,
So go to maxfieldmouse.com if you want like in-depth information about this book, right? And the
right.
exercises, and even for teachers to
Yes,
to learn more about how it can help in their classrooms.
yes, and the problem is you just don't. I put four of them in here, and four of them originally for students and also for well, for kids and also for teachers on my website. It's just hard to stop. I have a bonus one for making a Ferris wheel because that's part of the book at the end, and that's really a cool one with popsicle sticks, and it shows how a wheel, wheel and axle work. And then I was tempted to do. He has make a little pulley as an elevator in his house, and there. It just turns out, and this is kind of what excited me about it too, because it was new to me, that all kinds of things can relate to STEM, and you just have to draw the line somewhere. But I'm going to put in some bonus activities on the website, rather not necessarily at the end of the book.
Great. Okay. So the book is not the be all end all.
Right, right.
And there's going to be more to come also, another book, yeah?
Yes, yes,
Okay. So Maxfield's journey, it when students relate to it,
yes.
they can continue the adventure, right?
Right, right.
Um, One part that really struck me, and I think this is so important, is that Maxfield is also making friends along the way.
Yes, yes. That's his main. Well, he's an inventor mouse. I mean, that's his skill, but that's sort of his main uh, emotional problem. Is that he accidentally got separated from his farm family and ended up in a townhouse, and he thinks he's going to be okay. He can make his little inventions. He's got a safe place to live. He even has befriended this pet dog. But then there's kind of this emptiness in his heart because he doesn't have that closeness that he used to have. And so the story is about him not just inventing, but taking a few chances and connecting with the mouse village. He finds some other mice, and he's very shy, but he gets out there uh, and he makes connections. So friendship is very important, and that was actually the theme I wanted to write about um, in this story. The STEM was fun and how to connect it in a classroom. But the story, to me, I used to teach in Philadelphia, and when I was deciding who I was thinking about, I would see a lot of students who, when I would ask them what they do with their families or what they do when they go home, they do a lot of video games. They sometimes even playing with their families, or they're on their phones. And this is young kids, but they've kind of don't have the connections we had growing up with neighborhood, going out and playing in the neighborhood.
Yeah,
Partly,
yeah.
yeah, partly there's not a lot of recreation activities. Partly parents feel it's safer if they can be inside. All kinds of reasons. But I feel a little bit of their isolation. So as Maxfield ventured out beyond his little townhouse, that was who I was. That's kind of who I was writing for.
Okay. And that makes so much sense. I mean, you want to know where your kid is
Right, right.
and how many things can you do in the house. So this book provides activities that the family can also do with the child
Yes, yeah,
that isn't a video that isn't screen related.
right, right.
So when you were talking about some of the challenges like that you saw among your students, what other kinds of issues prevent kids from learning to a greater degree, and especially with STEM topics, um, in schools today in the at the elementary level?
Well, let's see. One thing is always resources. There are different different communities, different families have more on hand. Some kids grow up with Lego sets and Play-Doh and things like that, and a lot of it is experimenting, and a lot of it is, whether they've gotten it all the time and they, really know, and they have people talking about it. So part of it is, just their background. Part of it is that STEM is probably a little more expensive to implement. You need materials. You're not going to do a lot of STEM. I mean, there are some STEM models and stuff on the screen on computers, but you want it to be hands-on. You want people doing it in groups. So there's an expense, and there's a messiness about it. I was kind of I was a kindergarten teacher, so it was all about mess. But
As long as it's not glitter that gets everywhere.
no glitter, thank you, thank you. But we made all kinds of homemade clay, or we would, or at least I would try to have a lot of. I mean, you just are supposed to do that, I'm quite sure, in kindergarten. But by third or fourth grade, and there's all this pressure to do other things, I'm not sure that it's given that attention unless there's a particular teacher who's designated to be the STEM teacher, or sometimes they have a STEAM teacher, which includes art too. Um, and I think it's also to, bring everybody into that world, because you don't want only certain communities and only certain uh, members of the population to think that they're going to be scientists or engineers. It's, I'm sure it was something that traditionally wasn't considered as much for girls, it's the boys with the Lego sets. And then even with the boys, that was a toy rather than something to learn from. So that's how his attitude, availability. Um, but I've tutored since then, and I know a lot of people, like middle school and so on, really enjoy their STEM and labs, because it gives them a chance to work with people and solve problems.
Sure, sure. Well, and real little kids, I mean, how interested are they in reading in general? If there isn't like
Yes.
I just remember I always loved to read, but
Yeah.
certain other things that we were learning, like I wanted to apply it. I
Yes.
didn't want to just know it. And so i- is that part of why you wrote this book
Yes. I
to,
wanted it to be engaging and not, even though I had sort of an idea of children I was writing it to, I didn't want it to be preachy, not another why is sharing important kind of thing. But
yeah.
I wanted it to be an engaging story because I always loved stories. I always told them to my daughter, and my parents used to always, make up stories with me. So I wanted to be engaging, but I do know there are a lot of children who don't read or don't enjoy reading, and sometimes it's they don't have the skills. But I think there are two, my opinion, by middle, they call it middle grade, which is elementary. There are two things that bring readers together. One of them, I think, I'm not positive, but I think it's the friends are reading it. Like I read whole bunches of a series of books because everybody else is reading them. That's like how everybody was reading Harry Potter, everybody reads Twilight, everybody. It's like it becomes something that your friends do. That's great. That's
Okay.
one thing. You can't always force that, but that's you want it to be something that you can talk about with your friends and you look forward to. The other thing, though, that I did have some control over was I noticed at any scholastic book fair in my school, anyhow, the kids only bought books that had something with them. It could be a whistle, it could be a toy, it could be a little dinosaur model, but they loved a little toy that goes with it. And that's not just little kids, that's older kids. So if they have choices, they want something to do or make or enjoy that that brings them in more than the book. So I decided at first I was going to try to offer kits for all the things in the back, but that's kind of bulky, particularly if you're going to ship it. So it was really the first one. It was really this one that I thought, kids could buy it with or without this, but it does give them an idea that there might be something fun to do with the book. Um,
Right. Okay. Okay. And when we were at the library at the author event, we met Mo, the reading dog.
yes,
Um, and the kids who had anxiety about reading would read to Mo, the
right,
black lab,
yeah,
and they were fine. Like, and
yeah,
this dog was so calm, folks. I mean,
uh,
and he was so sweet.
yes,
But I loved that idea
yeah,
that he could go in and the kids could sit next to the dog and be calm and
yes,
focus. I think he helps them focus.
yeah, yeah. I think they need some non-judgmental listeners and companions. Some of the worst things for kids are being in a reading group and being told that we're going to go around and they worry about
Oh,
when it's going to be their turn to read and all that. That's even for good readers that can cause anxiety. And So you don't want to have that, and you want to have it in a way that can be as accessible as possible, even if you're not a great reader. I used to always think that, and it doesn't matter what you read. Sometimes a kid will start reading joke books or something like that. That's just fine. We don't have to have a judgment either about what quality of literature, as long as they can enjoy it.
well, I mean, think about it. It's like going around in a circle. It's like public speaking, which everybody hates and is
Yes,
afraid of. Well, I don't want to say everybody, but most
most
people
people, right, right,
from a young age don't like it.
yes,
And then the judgment factor,
yes,
or am I going to be judged if I don't do it perfectly?
right, right.
Whether or not you feel, I mean, and a dog won't do that.
And a dog won't do that. A dog loves reading to anyhow. Or sometimes in schools they get partner reading where they ask third graders to come and read um, Dr. Seuss to kindergarten kids, or at least they do
Oh,
that. And then the older kids, even if they aren't good readers, can practice it beforehand if they want. But they'll read it, and the kindergarten child loves it, of course, because they've got a special buddy. And the older kid it's not only helping, but the reading is not. I'm not saying it's the same as to a dog, but to somebody who's going to not point out that they misspelled a word or skipped a period or something.
right, right. No, I mean, it's really important. And I
It
mean,
is.
reading is essential. We know
Yeah.
this,
Mhm.
but to engage them, to make them want to do it as a fun activity,
Right.
there's the challenge, right? I
Right.
mean, certain of us who love books, right? Um, uh,
Yeah.
we just do
We
it
do.
because,
Right.
oh, it's a
Right.
book, you know. But that's not the case. For many, it's boring,
Right.
or it's difficult, or if they haven't been, like, if they're dyslexic and haven't been diagnosed.
Yes.
Like, there are a lot of factors here
Right.
that could prevent a child from enjoying it and seeking it out as an activity.
Yes. And even the competition from their phones and things. When I was a kid and there was nothing, you're bored. You think, oh well, maybe I'll go read one of my books. Here, even as an adult, I'll think, oh well, I'll play solitaire. I'll do this. I'll do that. So there's a competition, and we want to make sure that the books are at least active in that competition. That it's one of those things that they enjoy doing, not the only
Right.
thing.
And that's why with the illustrations are so cute. And that's part of what
Yes.
engages them.
Yes. Yes. I agree, and I do want to kind of shout out to my illustrator friend. I mean, you just see like there he's meeting with his friend in the little log um, house, or they're just great little illustrations, and I think that's very charming, and I also think it's great that to see that kind of illustration. I had started just as a placekeeper by doing some sort of AI and some clip art in there just before we had the pictures written. And I was tutoring a seventh grade, and he says, "Oh, that's AI, isn't it?" I mean, AI is pretty easy to recognize, and this kind of work, at least now, I don't know how things will evolve. This kind of work you can tell is unique, and is sort of is very sweet. So I felt very lucky to find a good friend to do the illustration.
That's awesome. Yeah. Um, so it sounds like, I mean, when you were a teacher, you were focused on kindergarten. Now you're at second and third grade range.
For this
It
book,
sounds
yeah.
like you've had a shift in how you're looking at presenting material to young students. Would you say that that's true?
I think that's true. I think what happened was I decided one day that now that I was retired, that I was going to just stop procrastinating and write a story. And I came up with a story because my daughter said her dog was barking at a mouse. I said, okay, that's it. Just start with that, rather than waiting for some divine, huge inspiration from other place. I'll just write it for a couple weeks and see where it goes. As I wrote it, then I was trying to decide who I was writing it for. And I gravitated to I was thinking of very early chapter books like Frog and Toad Are Friends, and books like that, which are a little younger than this, but are still like early chapter books. Um, and it just interested me more. I like the rhyming and fun kindergarten books, but I enjoyed more writing something that had a little more of a plot to it. And so I ended up somewhere in the middle, somewhere around second, third, fourth grade. Even though it's a
Okay.
page, which makes you think it's young, but the vocabulary is not it's not a controlled vocabulary, which they have when you're teaching reading. Like these are the words you should have, and you shouldn't use these words, and so on. It's geared to about third grade when they can handle a little more vocabulary.
Okay. Well, plus the engineering
Right. And
of the
then from that, the
toys.
engineering came about like that too. So it
Right.
kind of all
I
came
love that
together.
the dog was barking at the mouse. For you starting authors or whoever has writer's block, just know inspiration can come from anywhere. So be open and be on the lookout.
Exactly. Well, that's what I was telling myself. We had stories about anything that came up, and even in my family we did sometimes we did too. We had little imaginary, stories, and they read a lot. So I was like, okay, I can write a story about. She said, I don't think Sky, that's their dog, is going to be friends with this mouse. I said, oh yes, he will. Let me start. And that's how. And then the story developed. But I don't. I believe you could start with almost anything.
I was reading an article about how reading to a child, like at
Yes,
bedtime, from
yes,
a book,
yes,
not a tablet or,
yeah.
from a book, increase their interest level and help develop their intellect around the written word better than a digital format.
I'm sure that's true. And then you have a shared um, characters in your life. My father read to my sister and I till after dinner till I was 12 and she was 14. He read all the adventure stories that he liked, from Robinson Crusoe to, just books that he had liked himself. He would read chapters of that to us. And we're getting into fairly adult books by the time we kind of stopped. It's just a very magical time to sit on the bed, both of us on the side of a parent, share the book. And then later on, you have characters that you can talk about. Like if I said, uh, that person's such an Eeyore, everybody knows that's a grumpy person. And later on, my husband used to like to read Tolkien to my daughter. And so whether it was The Hobbit or one of the characters from The Hobbit or one of the characters from Lord of the Rings, they could know what they were talking about. So it has a lot of interpersonal, um, benefits, and I think it's a great, just a great thing if people can do that with their kids, and it's more than just saying you have to go sit and read for half an hour. If you can interact with them.
Yeah, because then you can also answer questions that they might
Yes.
have about a certain behavior, which is also valuable. But I love how you said it's a magical time because it is.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
That, everybody's snugged in
Right.
and, oh, we're gonna hear a story. And I mean, even as an adult, I think back and even now I'm like, read me a story.
Yeah.
It's just such it's a stimulating but relaxing activity shared. And I really love that you pointed out that, you can have shared characters to discuss later.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You know who these people are as much, or these characters are as
Yeah.
much as you know who um, who some cousins are and things like that. Just as far as the character traits. Um,
Yeah.
and, yeah. And I have a pretty good idea now who Maxfield is. So in my next stories, I kind of have an idea in myself of how Maxfield would behave in a certain circumstance. And I think that's, you certainly do get the characters in a story. And
Yeah.
yeah.
So you could read Maxfield Mouse to your child in bed without having them want to jump up and make a Ferris wheel.
Right, 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 right. As a matter of fact, if you read the whole thing, it doesn't say anything. It does not say anything in the story about make it projects. But at the very end of it, he writes a little note to his readers that I have created some plans in the back and on my website. So if you were not planning to drag out um, paper towels and things and try to paper towel rolls and try to make a pulley, that's fine too. You do not have to do the magnet activities.
Okay, great. That's awesome. Well, so you know what Maxfield's next adventure is going to be? Or,
Well, actually, I have several ideas and I am soliciting, well, I'm letting it sit for a little bit. I'm soliciting opinions from kids as they read it, I think. And I have at least two of them. One of them is he's going to want to go back and see his farm family and see how they're doing. So he's going to have to devise some inventions that deal with transportation, um, and um, and communication. So like he can stay in touch. You have to see how that goes. The other one is that he's trying to teach the younger mice some of what he knows. He's going to have a workshop, which has literally its ups and downs. But while they're doing that in the barn, they find out that the barn's slated for demolition. So they have to figure out a plan to save the barn by some sort of clever way of changing the plans from the city. So those are my two outlines. There's nothing in there yet, but I know somebody who has some STEM lessons around detection, and he could be a detective. But the other way I'm going to find out, in addition to just sort of throwing it out there and sitting with it, is starting actually today. I'm joining my illustrator friend in a very great school in Philadelphia called Hope Partnership for Education. And we're doing reading and doing the activities, and they're a little bit older, fifth, sixth graders, and we're soliciting from them what they think the next book should be. So they're going to be co-authors and planning it.
That'll be great feedback. I
I
mean,
know.
it's the right audience.
Right. They're just a little bit older. They can critique it, and they can critique the activities and tell us what works, what doesn't work. Because with self-publishing, you can always modify the original book, but more than that, what would you like to see in the next book? So
Yeah.
we're going to do that
So,
for 9 weeks. That's going to give us a lot of information.
wow, yes.
Yeah.
So, do you have any other events planned, or are you participating in anything
Oh,
else
thank you. Yeah, there's a community family day in Ardsley, which is just outside of, it's in Philadelphia near Glenside and Willow Grove. People are familiar with that idea, not too far from Chestnut Hill. And that's on the 18th of October. And then on the 25th, I'm going far. I'm going to Belmar, New Jersey, because yes, big field trip. They're having an author expo, and the person who wrote the STEM lessons, I'd say with me, but really for me, lives in Belmar. She told me about it, so I'm traveling out there on the 25th. If anybody happens to live near Belmar,
Perfect. Are these events on maxfieldmouse.com so people can check it out?
that's a very good idea. I should put a little upcoming events. I will do that. Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Because, bring the kids, right?
Right. The first one, the family day, has all kinds of vendors. It's not just about books. And I think that should be a lot of fun locally. And the Belmar one, I understand, has about 40 authors. So it'll be a big author. And it's in a library. It'll be a big author expo. So either way, yeah, that's a great idea. I'll remember. Everything should go onto maxfieldmouse.com.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here today. We learned so much, and I wish you great luck and happy reading for all the kids that get their hands on this book. And I
Thank
hope to
you.
see you again soon.
Oh, thank you. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much.